All right, welcome back. A Bunch of Bums, episode 57. No intro song today because I'm recording from QuickTime Player so that way we can post our mock draft on YouTube. And I don't know how to insert extra audio into a QuickTime Player recording because I've never done that before. So Here we are. I'm going to go ahead and use my trusty old iPhone to randomize our draft order. It is me, Aaron, Brandon, and Dom here today. Dom has not recorded in probably a couple of months at this point. So he's back and ready to win another mock draft. I'm going to go ahead and randomize Aaron's pick first. Pick a number between 1 and 12.
The answer is 6.
Fuck, that sucks.
That does
Aaron
suck.
will have pick number 6.
We're all gonna be right in the middle. Watch.
You can just start the draft and it'll randomize at every pick.
Yeah, but this is more fun. Now I'm going to go ahead and do Brandon's. Pick a number between 1 and 12.
The answer is 12.
Ooh, I like that.
All right, now I'm going to go ahead and do Dom's.
I swear if I could.
Pick a number between 1 and 12.
It's 6.
Oh,
Try again.
Pick a different number.
Here's what I found.
Pick a number between 1 and 12.
The answer is 6.
Pick a number between 1 and 12.
This is what we get.
The answer is 6.
Siri, you're really failing me here. There's a whole 8 people watching this video. Pick a number between 1 and 12.
It's 6.
You just can't
back
script
out of
this
it.
stuff.
Back
No
out of it,
way.
and then go back into it.
Pick a number between 1 and 12 that's not 6.
It's 3.
Thank you, Siri. Tom will be number 3, and this one's for mine. Pick a number between 1 and 12.
It's 12.
Pick a number between 1 and 11.
The answer is 1.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, fuck.
Sorry guys.
Fuck you.
It's just home field advantage.
Aaron got shafted.
I got shafted so fucking hard.
All right, so I'll be picking number 1. Dom's sitting at number 3. Aaron is at number 6, and Brandon is at number 12, which will make it not a million auto picks in a row.
That pick sucks.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start the draft.
It's better than 7, 8, or 9.
Yeah.
And here we are with the wonderful sleeper sounds. I am going to go ahead, and this is a 3 wide receiver draft, I believe.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Oh, sweet.
We're
Okay.
going 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, and a flex. So since wide receivers are, the most valuable position, I'm just going to go ahead and take the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson.
Thanks for letting us know. Jeez.
I don't know what just happened, but okay, it fixed itself.
Team 2 is on the clock.
Can we skip it?
I have to turn computer auto draft back on.
Oh. What are we doing?
Okay, team 2 picked Christian McCaffrey, and that puts Dom on the clock.
Yeah, Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler went to Dom, and then Jamar Chase and Tyreek Hill followed, and that puts Aaron up.
I think for me, I'm going to take who arguably will be wide receiver 1 or 2 at the end of the season if he stays healthy, and that's Cooper Kupp. Bijan Robinson went 3rd.
Bidgen. Good old Bidgen.
Team 7 took Travis Kelce at the 107, followed by Bijan Robinson being the 3rd running back. Then Saquon Barkley, followed by Jonathan Taylor. Stephon Diggs goes as the wide receiver 5, and that puts Brandon on the clock with the last pick in the first round.
Okay. So it would be a long time until I get a chance to pick a running back. So I don't think I want to take 2 running backs or 2 wide receivers. I know that Devontae Adams is like kind of a lock-in top 5 wide receiver. But he is older. He does have a new quarterback this year. And we don't know how that offense is going to go. I would rather go with the upside. And actually, A.J. Brown is 1 spot above him in ADP. So I'm going to take A.J. Brown. And then After that, it's really between Nick Chubb and Josh Jacobs. So again, not sure how the Raiders' offense is going to go, but I think Josh Jacobs is easily going to have over 300 opportunities. And for PPR, I think he'll be more valuable, so I'll take Jacobs.
According to Sleeper, that's a stretch.
Yeah, I probably would have gone 2 wide receivers there, considering
That's
it's a 3 wide receiver
league. For me, I can take a wide receiver and give myself 2 great wide receivers, but at this point, I don't think I'll land a decent running back in the 3rd round. So I'm going to take Nick Chubb.
So you're going to shit on me for going 1-1, then you're going to do the same.
It makes sense for me.
You could have got a top 6 to 7 wide receiver.
I'm sitting at the
whereas
6th
Adams
spot,
and Lamb
Brandon.
went in between him. All right, that puts Dom up on the clock.
Also, Josh Jacobs had a 19.8 ADP, and you took him 13.
Yeah. So his ADP was like 5 spots later.
Which
There's
yeah,
like
I mean,
22 spots until I go again. So
I like Josh Jacobs better than any of the running backs that were there, and
Right.
there's no chance he was going to get any of them in his next pick. So I don't think that's that big.
You
of a
like him
reach.
more than Nick Chubb?
Yeah,
You liked him more than Nick Chubb?
he's going to catch more passes.
yeah, he'll catch
Yeah.
more passes. I think he'll get more opportunities. Nick Chubb could be more efficient. He could have more touchdowns, so it could be close.
Yeah.
All right, Dom's got 1:10 on the clock.
Yeah, I'm going Garrett Wilson.
That puts me back up on the clock, and I am going to go ahead and grab Breece Hall to round out the second round.
That's a good pick.
So the second round ended up being Josh Jacobs at the 201, followed by CeeDee Lamb and Devontae Adams. Derrick Henry went, and then Mahomes, Waddle, Nick Chubb, and then Amon-Ra, Jalen Hurts. Dom picked Garrett Wilson. Then Mark Andrews went right before me. I grabbed Breece Hall. And then to start off the third round, I'm going to go ahead and take, in my opinion, the best wide receiver that's left in T. Higgins.
Tony Pollard came off the board.
And now Dom's back up on the clock. See if he talks us through his pick this time. He's very clearly thinking. But he doesn't have very many words to say today.
The next pick is going to be tough.
I know exactly what pick I would go with right now.
Josh Allen got a high ADP.
Mahomes, Hurts, and Allen all do. Like, they're all second-round picks now.
Yeah, and this isn't even a 6-point passing touchdown draft.
No.
Oh, it's not?
I mean,
Oh.
it doesn't matter. We can draft like that if we want to, but
Okay.
like, there's no reason that the computer should be drafting like it is 6-point passing touchdown.
Patrick and Jalen Hurts in the second round.
Right, exactly.
30 seconds.
Okay. Think.
You're going to forfeit the pick.
I'll go Ken Walker.
You went Kenny Walker?
Josh Allen in the third round is a steal, according to ADP. So I think Josh Allen should have been the pick there.
I
Kenneth
disagree.
Walker also worries me. I think he'll still be the lead back, but he worries me.
I wasn't anticipating Josh Allen falling to me. I was looking at Najee Harris or Ramondre Stevenson. But I'll take Josh Allen.
Team number 9 ends out the third round with 3 running backs in a 3-wide receiver league.
You took Kenneth Walker, Dom, and they just drafted Zach Charbonnet.
What?
The Seahawks drafted a second running back. It's going to be a backfield by committee.
Okay, so there's still some decent quarterback. There's still really good quarterbacks left, and I think it's a little early. And at my spot right now, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing because the top guys at both running back and wide receiver right now, in my opinion, basically close out a tier. So I'm going to take ETN and DK. So now I've got 2 and 2 for running backs, wide receivers.
Oh, here's where it gets tricky. So I have one at wide receiver, one at running back, one at quarterback. I'm going to be taking a reach here, only because it's what his ability can be returning from suspension, and that's Calvin Ridley.
That puts Dom back on the clock, which means 2 minutes of dead airspace. Radio silence.
Walk
He
us
has
through what
not
you're
even
thinking.
picked up his mic yet.
What do you think of Damian Pierce's floor is with C.J. Stroud at quarterback?
Can't be worse than it was last year.
Was it bad last year?
No, that's
Finished
what I
28.
mean. Like there's no way that he's going to be worse than he was last year. Like the offense was awful. He was the entire thing. Even if he gets less work, they're going to be more efficient. So he should be fine.
There's a lot of good noise coming out of Houston with Nico Collins too. They think that at the moment he's their number one. Him and
not
C.J. Stroud
good.
have looked good.
All right, Dom's got 50 seconds left. Still has yet to pick up his mic during his last minute and 20 seconds on the clock. It would honestly probably be better if we had a computer making his picks for him, because then at least we wouldn't have 2 minutes of silence in between our picks.
I don't like any of these picks.
Well, you can always trade your pick. Just kidding, but Sleeper should definitely add that in mock drafts, because that'd be sick.
Yeah. You have 10 seconds, Dom.
Okay. Yes, I'm going with Kittle.
Wonderful. That puts me back up on the clock. I'm going to draft McLaurin and Pierce back-to-back here to round out my starting
fucker.
running backs and wide receivers. But to round out the third and fourth rounds, it was T. Higgins, Tony Pollard, Ken Walker, Devontae Smith, Ramondre Stevenson, Josh Allen, Chris Olave, Najee Harris, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Lamar Jackson, Keenan Allen, and Travis Etienne was the third round. And then the last 12 have been DK Metcalf, Joe Burrow goes in the fourth, Debo Samuel, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, Justin Fields, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, who's not even on a team right now, Hawkinson and Kittle back-to-back, followed by Drake London, putting me up on the clock. I'm going to go ahead and draft Dameon Pierce as my running back 2 and have Terry McLaurin be my wide receiver 3.
Amari Cooper just went in the second pick of the 5th round, and Dom is back up for another 2 minutes of dead air time.
Maybe I should just switch the pick clock to 1 minute, and then we won't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
It'll force him to make his decisions at least a little bit faster.
I'm going with DJ Moore.
DJ Moore goes, followed by J.K. Dobbins, who I know Aaron wanted to draft here.
I did want to take
And then
J.K.
Alexander
Dobbins.
Madison went right after.
So I have 2 wide receivers at the moment. I still need a second running back, but looking at what's available, nothing screams worth it at this pick. But in terms of wide receivers, there's still some good wide receivers available, especially someone that could have a big year coming up in 2023 with a new head coach and another year with Russell Wilson, and that's Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, I think that was the right pick.
I got 2 bye weeks the same week.
Sorry,
In
it's a
all
mock
those,
draft.
in all the picks between Aaron and I, only one team needed a quarterback, and I really hope Justin Herbert would fall to me, and he didn't. The one team that didn't have a quarterback yet took Herbert.
So the
which
next
sucks.
top quarterback is Trevor Lawrence.
That would be correct. So, first off, because it's a 3 wide receiver league, I'm kind of forced to take another wide receiver here. So instead of Jacobs, it probably actually would have been better if I had taken Lamb or Adams, because James Conner, Cam Akers would have been decent picks here at my running back too, but that's okay. So looking at wide receivers, I don't want to pair DK with Tyler Lockett. Chris Godwin is there. Don't know how the Bucs offense is going to do, and Mike Evans is still the top target. Honestly, Michael Pittman soaked up a lot of targets last year, and I think he'll do the same thing this year. Even though Anthony Richardson has some rushing upside, I mean, you're still going to have to pass the ball, and Pittman's really the only notable guy there. I think he can still have around 100 targets, if not more. So I'll take Pittman, and then I'm going to pair Etienne up with Lawrence.
Probably a good pick.
Yeah, I don't hate that pick. Okay, so here I am. I have 3 wide receivers already down. I still need another running back. And the person that has fallen to me is a very hit or miss in terms of what he can be versus what he will be. And that's being DeAndre Swift. If they use him accordingly and not try to make him a 3-down back like he was being trying to be made into in Detroit, his fantasy upside could offer more in the passing game as well as the rushing game.
All right, Dom's up on the clock. Since Brandon's pick, it was Chris Godwin, Dallas Goedert, James Conner, Hollywood Brown, Mike Williams. Aaron picked DeAndre Swift. Javonte Williams went, and then Cam Akers went. Dom still needs another wide receiver, a quarterback, a flex, and then his bench spots.
I'm going to go with Brandon Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk, rounding out his starting core of skill players. So that puts me up on the clock. I was kind of hoping that Dallas Goedert would have fallen, but I knew it was probably a pipe dream. I cannot exactly remember off the top of my head who I have ranked as my next highest tight end. It is Darren Waller, who is sitting here as the best value pick according to Sleeper on the board right now. I already have all my starting skill positions, so I guess I'm going to grab him just so that way I don't have to wait for another tight end. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the best player left on the board, in my opinion, in Tyler Lockett, still being the wide receiver 2 in Seattle to be my flex.
Jackson Smith and Jigba went next.
And then that puts Dom back up on the clock.
For another 2 minutes of dead air time.
I really apologize if you're listening to this as a podcast rather than watching it on YouTube, because at least on YouTube you have a pretty sleeper mock draft screen to look at.
Yep.
Whereas if you're listening to it without any sort of video, it's probably pretty boring to listen to us just talk about bullshit every 5 minutes for 2 straight minutes.
Just to cover for Dom, who refuses to put the mic to his mouth and talk about his pick and why he's picking. How about the weather?
This episode is brought to you by Benadryl.
I think we'd be the opposite of a podcast that Benadryl would want to sponsor, because we put you to sleep instead of Benadryl. You don't need Benadryl when you listen to us.
Actually, so I didn't know like all Benadryl was like drowsy.
Yeah.
Like it's like a side effect. And I was sick starting on Monday. So it was my first day of orientation. So I wasn't feeling well. I got home. I took a severe Benadryl because I went out and bought some. And I took 2 NyQuil. So I knocked myself right out. Woke up groggy Tuesday morning, not knowing that Benadryl was drowsy. As soon as I woke up, I take another Benadryl right before work. So I was all drugged up during orientation all day on Tuesday. Like my head was almost slamming the table because I was nodding off. Like literally up until like 2 hours left of the shift. So like 3 o'clock is when I actually like felt like I was like up.
Dom's got 10 seconds on the clock.
So I'm going with Tua.
Tua Tagovailoa. Anyway, that's the story of how Brandon got fired from his newest job.
With my pick, there's no tight end here worth picking this early. I can still snag a salvageable one here later in the draft. But I'm going to take a wide receiver here to kind of pair with the 3 that I already have that I think will get back into top 20, top 15 status this year, and that's Deontay Johnson. A big issue. I couldn't take Christian Kirk because I already have Calvin Ridley.
That's fair.
And Deontay Johnson last year said the biggest issue that he had on the offense was because he didn't know who was going to be playing quarterback between Mitchell Trubisky or Kenny Pickett. Now that he knows Kenny Pickett's the guy, they've been working all offseason and getting that chemistry, and he has the ability, albeit he dropped some passes, but last year was a fluke with no touchdown passes all season. I don't foresee that going into the 2023 year. I expect at least to get back into the top 20 because the target stayed up in around the 144 range. So
I want to pause here for just a minute while Brandon has 4 straight minutes to go. This is the sole reason why I prefer Fantasy Pros drafts over sleeper drafts, because the sleeper AI is garbage.
Yeah.
This is a 3 wide receiver draft, and Team 9 has currently taken 5 running backs, 1 quarterback, and their first wide receiver in a 3 wide receiver league would be Mike Evans.
yeah.
That's
Maybe-
not happening.
And
in
I'm
Fantasy
also
Pros
frustrated because Mike Evans and Jordan Addison were my 2 clear targets to my next pick, and they are both gone. So that's why I'm sort of thinking about what I want to do. I don't want to take, similar to Aaron, I don't necessarily want to take a tight end yet because I feel like I could wait and get a decent one.
Right, especially with Freiermuth, Ingram, and Njoku coming up.
But one guy that showed flashes last year, looked really good, and could easily be the second best wide receiver on his team. I'll take Jahan Dotson. So there's my 4th wide receiver right there. I could take a backup running back, but where I feel like I kind of took a downgrade in wide receiver earlier in the draft, I could take another wide receiver, or I'm pretty high on David Njoku. I could take him as well. So if I take another wide receiver, I like George Pickens, but where Deontay Johnson could take another step up, it's kind of a toss-up. So would I rather have Pat Freiermuth and a different wide receiver, or would I rather take David Njoku? Actually, I'd be passing up George Pickens. So, yeah, this is tough.
I will say there's no shot that Aaron takes Pat Freiermuth or George Pickens, considering that he just grabbed Johnson.
Right, but according
Team
to their
9
ADP, they will be gone by my next picks.
It depends, because Team 9, it would not be wise of them to take tight end here. But again, they've drafted 5 running backs in 7 rounds. And that only leaves Team 5 to potentially take Freiermuth. So there's a chance he falls. I know he's the
Where
next
this is
valued
3 wide
tight
receivers,
end.
and according to ADP, the wide receivers up right now will score roughly 40 more points than the top tight ends right now. I think I'll take the depth at wide receiver and take George Pickens because I think he has high potential too.
Well, Pat Freiermuth won at the next pick. I didn't realize that Team 11 didn't have a tight end yet, so yikes.
That's fine.
I'm up with my next pick. And at this point in the draft, top 2 available are Dak Prescott with an ADP of 87.8 and Evan Ingram with an ADP of 88.3. I'm going to take Evan Ingram. I don't like this idea. You know what? I'm not going to take Evan Ingram. I'm going to take David Njoku, which gives me a little bit more diversity in my team.
For gambling.
Gambling.
Did you not see the news?
This is live proof that Dom hasn't listened to a single episode of this podcast
Or-
in his life.
Does anything other than shower with clothes on?
All right, Dom's up on the clock. He has his full starters ready to go. He just needs his flex here, I guess, to round out his starting lineup, and then he's working on bench spots after that. I know that the guy that I want to take at quarterback is about to go 1 spot in front of me, and I'm going to be very angry after.
Do you think it's going to... Is it Watson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had Dak Prescott rated higher, but then I changed him at the end of our quarterback ranking episode.
To be fair, and the reason why we did is because Kellen Moore's no longer there, so we don't know what this offense is going to look like.
Yeah, well, I'm about to get stuck with Dak Prescott when Team 2 snags Deshaun Watson. I also need another running back at that pick, the next pick, so.
Is Alvin Kamara arrested? Like, is he in jail?
Didn't he already get drafted?
Yeah,
Okay, so then why does it matter?
because Jamal Williams is up.
Gotcha, that's fair. I don't think that he's been, like, suspended or anything like that yet. but it's
It'll be coming, I
It's gonna
believe.
happen. I think he'll probably be out like the first 6 weeks or so.
Okay, well then I'm taking Jamal Williams.
Look at
Thank God. Sleeper AI went exactly down the sleeper quarterback rankings, and that leaves Deshaun Watson back up at my pick. So that rounds out my starting lineup for sure now, and now I'm working on bench. I would love to take a running back right now, but I don't really know which running back I would like.
there's one guy I'm hoping falls to me.
So am I, and I think we're thinking of the same
I
person.
think we're probably thinking of the same person too.
I'm going to go ahead. This is really hard. I'm between the two rookies in Zach Charbonnet and Devin A-Chain, however you say his last name.
You said it right.
Which time?
A chain.
Okay. I'm not sure if, I don't even know who the Dolphins have at running back on their team.
Jeff Wilson.
Jeff Wilson and
And
Raheem
Raheem
Mostert.
So
Mostert.
right now he's not the starter, but both those guys are old as dirt and probably won't be there for much longer.
And banged up all the time.
I think that I would rather go with Zach Charbonnet. He is behind Ken Walker, but he's going to be my running back off my bench. So in the off chance that Pete Carroll decides to use them both in a 50-50 split or even a 60-40 split or anything like that in a run-first offense, he's 6'1", 220, so he's a
Is
pretty
that who
big
you
dude.
wanted, Brandon?
So I'm going to go ahead
That's
and
not
grab
who
him.
I wanted. Come on.
Juju Smith-Schuster goes between me and Dom, and that puts Dom back up on the clock.
Dom is in need of nothing.
He picked up
He
his,
needs depth at wide receiver.
He
Yeah.
picked up his mic really, really quick, so it's like he's running to the podium to make this next pick.
He is not running to the podium to make the next pick. He grabbed it just to hold it up to his mouth and sit there silently for 2 minutes.
At least he grabbed it.
At least he grabbed it.
He wants to keep us in suspense. Doesn't want us to know he's struggling.
Struggling is an understatement.
These are the hardest rounds of the draft. You're really just shooting for upside at this point.
Yeah,
Especially in a 3 wide receiver league where there's one extra starter.
Dude, instead of Michael Pittman, if I had taken Cam Akers there, and instead of Josh Jacobs, I would have had CeeDee Lamb or Devontae Adams, I think my team would look a little better. Because I'd have A.J. Brown, DK, and CeeDee Lamb, let's say. But then ETN and Cam Akers would both be my starting running backs, and Cam Akers is the clear-cut starter for the Rams. So, I wouldn't have depth at running back just like I do now, but I think my
30 seconds, Dominic.
team upside would look a little better.
I have a backup pick in case my pick's not there.
That's good. Always nice to have. I have literally no idea who I'm even thinking about at my next pick. So
Well, you got a long time to go.
yeah, and that's the issue.
I'll just go Gabe Davis.
I think that's probably the best person that was left.
He
on the
did
board.
fall to me. I'm taking running back Antonio Gibson, and here's why. Eric Bieniemy has already come out and said that he's going to be a matchup nightmare for this offense. Now, I have a feeling that they're going to use him and the other running back there, Brian. What's Brian's name?
Robinson.
Brian Robinson. They're going to use them as he did in Kansas City with Pacheco and McKinnon. And if we know anything, McKinnon ended up taking over that offense.
Yeah, the only issue
I'm listening.
is that they don't have Patrick Mahomes on that team, so the running backs
It don't
are
matter.
not going to do
We
that well
forget
with
that
the limited
Antonio
carries.
Gibson in the first 30 games of his career ran for over 1,800 yards and 18 touchdowns. The biggest issue of Mr. Gibson was he had fumbling issues, but last year he didn't fumble nearly as much as he did previously.
So, what's tough for me here is the only tight end I think worth taking is Cole Kmet, a guy that he's the last guy in my rankings that could, is a
Not
starting
Schultz?
tight end.
Not Schultz?
No, because he's on the Texans now.
Okay.
I mean, he could easily be the top target for C.J. Stroud.
And he's not
there's-
competing with 3 other tight ends because they use 4 tight end sets at times.
There's True. There's some unknown there. That's kind of what scares me about it, and the fact that it's like one of the worst like overall teams and offenses in the league. So there's not, you know what I mean? So there's that. I love the value of Kirk Cousins here in case Lawrence were to go down. But I think there's a couple other guys here that I could take as a potential backup with high upside, especially later in the season. So while I'd like to take Kirk Cousins here, for insurance, I'm gonna let him go. So I'll go ahead and take Cole Kmet, and then I'm gonna take Devon Achane, who I think is the last guy with some upside in the later rounds.
And to be fair, my backup pick before I got to Antonio Gibson was Quentin Johnson.
Who went before Antonio Gibson?
Right, yep. So I'm here with my next pick. I need some wide receiver depth. I need some quarterback depth. I need some tight end depth. At this moment, there's no tight end, I think, worth grabbing at this moment. It would all be a stretch in doing so. But someone who I think that could have high upside once they get everything figured out and back to old ways is Aaron Rodgers, top route runner from Green Bay, and that's Alan Lazard.
I'm going Geno Smith.
Aaron Rodgers went next after Geno Smith.
I mean, I guess I just go ahead and grab Jamison Williams and hope that for the second half of the season he is the first round pick that the Lions drafted him to be. This is like the first mock draft I've ever done where I haven't had a Lions player at the 10th round and I've actually been able to take him.
I wanted to take him, but that would have been my third receiver with the Week 9 bye.
That's fair. I'm not even looking at bye week, so I'm pretty sure I'm probably screwed. My other options are Odell, who I don't love. Damian Harris is garbage. I don't like rookie tight ends, especially on an offense like Buffalo with 100 mouths to feed. Daniel Jones is interesting, but I do have 2 picks in a row here, so I'll go ahead and grab Jamison Williams as my first one. And that'll be my 5th wide receiver, so I'm probably good there for now. And then, I think I'll just go ahead and grab Daniel Jones as my insurance quarterback just in case Deshaun Watson has another season like last year.
I was hoping Daniel Jones would fall back to me.
I really wanted Khalil Herbert to fall, but I actually think Jamison Williams is a better pick than Khalil Herbert, so I would have for sure had tunnel vision and smashed on Khalil Herbert if he would have fallen to me.
All your bye weeks are good, by the way, for receivers, so
Sweet.
you can stash them.
I'm going Damian Harris.
Dalton Kincaid went next. I'm going to, with this pick, take who I think will have another monstrous year. And with the weapons that they put around him will offer him some higher upside, especially if the offense can be as dynamic and as dominant as it was at times last year, and they finally put it all together, and that's Jared Goff.
Nice. Oh,
You want a Jared McKinnon?
I wanted to take like that last piece that I needed for running back depth, and I was sure Jerick McKinnon was going to be there for me. So now I may potentially have a decision to make at running back, but I can wait for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take now my backup quarterback since I didn't take him earlier. And while people are passing on him because he's injured and he's not going to play for a good part of the season, he could save me in the latter half, or I could use him or Lawrence for trade bait. So I'm going to take Kyler Murray. And then I guess I'll take another wide receiver. And right now I'm looking at Rondale Moore, who's sort of a gadget guy and did really well when he played. Or I take a depth piece in Tyler Boyd in case one of the other Bengals receivers gets injured. It's really a toss-up between the two. I think Rondale Moore would be more consistent, but I think Tyler Boyd will have a few touchdowns, and if anything were to happen, he would take a pretty big step up. So I'll take Tyler Boyd.
I'm really hoping the guy that I want falls. I have 2 people that I'm looking at.
I was hoping that Dolkich would fall to me. He did not. I do need a backup tight end at some point. Now, just looking at what we have available, the top-ranked players, Deontay Foreman in Chicago. Then we have Rondell Moore, Kendre Miller from New Orleans, and I think it's Rashee Rice from Kansas City. I think for me, this guy is the most questionable of the 2023 running back rookies. But what he did at TCU and his ability to break away and really rack up yards, but also just be a change of pace, especially if we don't know what's going on with Kamara, and that's Kendre Miller. I think he could end up being the guy, especially if the running back they signed, Williams, if he struggles in New Orleans. So
Dom didn't even announce his pick, but he took Gerald Everett at the 12-10.
Aaron was talking, so.
Fair enough. You do have 2 minutes that you could have waited, but that's all right. The guy that I wanted did fall. I already have 3 running backs, Breece Hall and Dameon Pierce. I'm confident in them as my starters going into it. I have enough receivers that I don't need to start a running back at flex. Charbonnet is kind of the insurance piece that I can just throw into in a pinch, and will hopefully get enough carries and maybe get into the end zone for a touchdown. So I'm going to grab an upside pick in Ezekiel Elliott and hope that he goes to an offense where he can score a couple of touchdowns on my bye weeks. And then
looking at your bye weeks, Breece Hall and Dameon Pierce are on the same bye week.
That's all right. I'll start Zach Charbonnet and Ezekiel Elliott, or I'll grab someone off the waiver wire. And for my last pick, I am going to go with Nico Collins as my 6th wide receiver, and just hope that he does emerge as a true wide receiver one in the Texans' less than ideal offense.
I'm going Raheem Mostert.
Ooh. I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. So in terms of tight ends, we have Max Mayer left over from Las Vegas.
Michael Mayer,
sorry, who they said could be the second coming of whatever his name was.
Wasn't it Jason Witten?
Witten, yeah, Jason Witten. I don't need a tight end until week 9, so I don't necessarily have to have a backup on the bench because there's no really good ones. But what I am going to take is the speedy rookie from New York, who I think that offers a lot of upside, especially in the offense, with Brian Dable as the head coach, and that's Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee, who is now a Giant.
Oh my God. Again. So the 2 guys I was looking at were Tank Bigsby as an insurance to ETN in case something were to happen, or if he ends up taking goal line work. And then my next choice would have been Jaylen Warren, because he looked very productive last year for the Steelers, and he could get more time this year. And they were both taken from right under me. So now I'm tilting. Don't know what I'm going to do. I guess with this last pick, this is kind of the pick that I could just end up dropping at any point. Who knows? Let's see. Okay, so honestly, I'm not a big fan of anybody right now. I mean, I could take Irv Smith, but I already took Tyler Boyd because he'll probably be the starting tight end for the Bengals. I could just take him as a second piece, and whoever ends up coming out and does well, there's that. But I guess I'll take the insurance piece in case something were to happen to Miles Sanders in Carolina, because he does pretty well when he's on the field, and he's younger than Jeff Wilson, so I'd rather have that. I'll take Chuba Hubbard.
Chubba Hubba.
And that concludes our mock draft.
See, what I don't like is that it doesn't give us a grade for our team. Jason broke the fucking mic.
This is
like Fantasy Pros does, where they gave us our own grade and
another reason why Fantasy Pros is better than Sleeper.
Well, let's dish out an opinion here. Let's look at each other's teams and.
Well, I was just gonna find a website.
I guess I will start by saying that we can all do Brandon's favorite segment where we all name our teams based on the players we got.
Ooh, yeah, let's do that. I like that.
I'll go last.
Damn, son.
Unless none of you guys are ready, then I guess I can go first.
You go first.
All right, I'm going to go with an all-time classic. It's one that I've seen used in other leagues, especially ones that I've been in. And I'm going to go with What's Under My Towel. Because I have Deshaun Watson.
What's under my towel?
Yeah, like What's Under My Towel.
What?
This is under my towel. Now you're getting it. Dom, you're next up on the board, so what are you going to name your team? Dom's team has Austin Eckler, Garrett Wilson, Ken Walker, George Kittle, DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk, Tua, Jamal Williams, Gabe Davis, Geno, Damian Harris, Gerald Everett, and Raheem Mostert. Great. He doesn't have a team name, so he is banned from the league.
I'm ready.
Dom's team it is.
I'm ready.
Aaron, go ahead.
Cup for my chub. Cooper Cup and Nick Chubb.
He also has Deontay Johnson, so you could throw a Johnson joke in there too.
Oh my god, a nice
Actually,
twofer, make it a hat trick.
I think I like Cup for my Johnson better, because then it's like
Cup for my Johnson, yeah.
I like it.
Jeez. All right. Well, when I'm put on the spot, I can't come up with anything great.
Brandon's team has A.J. Brown, Josh Jacobs, Travis Etienne, Metcalf, Pittman, Trevor Lawrence, Jahan Dotson, George Pickens, Cole Kmet, Devin Achane, Kyler Murray, which in my opinion is the worst pick of the draft, Tyler Boyd, and Chuba Hubbard.
I guess I would go. I'd probably go breaking T-Law, like breaking the law. Something like that. Or there's actually a lot of good Kyler Murray names. Like Cobra Kyler.
You've already used that one
Cobra
before.
Kai. Well, yeah, because I like it. But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of good ones there, but I do like doing that. It usually takes me like an hour to find one that I really like.
All right, let me see if I can find a team grade tool.
I'm using Rate My Team.
Okay, great. Can you import the whole draft board into that, or do I have to just type my...
They do offer importing it, so I don't know how that would work.
I click Sleeper, and then click my login. Oh my god, stop. I want to use my own password. I'm not even creating a password. I'm literally typing in a password for an account that already exists. I can do it as a league.
No.
But I can't do it for mock drafts. Okay.
I'm just writing in my own team.
How do I even do that? You did rate my team?
Rate my team. .footballguys.com is what the website I found.
Yeah, that's what I'm in right now, but it wants me to import my whole league.
Oh no, I just went insert my own team. Oh, but it's my report. Oh, you're gonna email it to me, you fuckers. That's how they get you.
Nope, I don't want to add a league. Can I import a league?
I got a A grade.
A grade, and
Yeah.
you just... What was it called again?
ratemyteam.footballguys.com. If you scroll down, it'll say manually enter team.
Yeah, it just says enter league and players myself.
Yeah.
Did you have to enter a league name or anything?
Yeah, you'll have to type in. Yeah, I just typed in Buncha Bums and then the team name that we came up with.
All right. In that case. Oh, I should have actually edited the. Whoa, how did it know? Why would the default be 0 tight ends?
Not a clue.
Half PPR, 0 tight ends. And then when I go to full PPR, it defaults to 3 tight ends. Brees Hall. T. Higgins. Sorry again for the dead airspace. We're all focusing on entering our teams. Except for Dom. He is playing a game of chess.
What's it called again?
ratemyteam.footballguys.com. So these guys said that my strength is going to be my quarterback position because I have Josh Allen, and that Jared Goff will be not a top-notch backup, but will be serviceable on Allen's bye.
I'm sure I'll get punished for taking Ezekiel Elliott where he's not even on a team.
It says I have to log in.
No, you don't have to log in. Go back. Scroll all the way down.
Yeah, don't click sleeper. You have to...
Oh, your draft grade?
Oh, my grade's also an A. Sophomore breakouts are a thing, right? Because I drafted Brees Hall, Jamison Williams, and Dameon Pierce. My biggest strength is wide receiver. Tight end it has as a big strength also, which is interesting to me because I drafted Darren Waller, who's not even like a top tier tight end this year. It says, with great in-season management, I have a 90% chance of making the playoffs. With good in-season management, I have an 85% chance of making the playoffs. And with average in-season management, I have an 80% chance of making the playoffs. My receivers are the strongest part of my team. It's rare for us to endorse a team with weakness at quarterback and running back, but I'm doing it the right way here. I should have a contender, but your margin for error in terms of in-season management could be a bit thinner than some of your other competitors. You must remain committed to finding 2023's emergent players at running back and quarterback. We particularly like Terry McLaurin and Tyler Lockett. And that is it.
They said the team is built around strong quarterback play despite not being strong at running back and receiver. We think this team should be above average. Nevertheless, we feel compelled to mention that the running back and wide receiver positions make us a bit nervous and are likely to require some attention throughout the year. We feel much better if we knew you were committed to scooping up 2023's breakout players at running back and wide receiver. Getting one or more of these would take this team to the next level. Players we particularly like on this team include Cooper Kupp and Deontay Johnson. We have both these guys ranked ahead of where they're typically being drafted. And then with great in-season management, we think that you have about a 90% chance of making the playoffs. With good in-season management, I'm at 85%, and with average season management, I'm at 77%. They like Nick Chubb as my running back 1, but that there's a big drop-off between Nick Chubb, DeAndre Swift, and that they think Antonio Gibson will be a good third running back, but Kendra Miller is out of his league as of RB4.
Mine says that Darren Waller is not viewed as a starting tight end according to this website.
David Njoku is the same way.
He's my only tight end on my roster, and I have a near full strength on like the strength by position graph at the top. So tell me how you don't think I have a starting tight end on my roster, but I have almost a top-ranked tight end strength.
Did you put your bench guys in there too?
Yeah, I went through the whole team, but I don't have a single backup tight end, so I only have Darren Waller.
And then they said my wide receiver group is a strength, particularly Cooper Kupp is my wideout 1. We figured them at a combined 5.5 points per game, or 5.5 points per game, better than an average opponent in this league. Coop is our second overall ranked wide receiver. Calvin Ridley's 20, Jared Judy's 24th. Deontay Johnson looks great as the fourth wide receiver, as he is likely a flex starter. Allen Lazard will also be among the best wide receivers in the league. as a wide receiver 5 on my team, and Jalen Hyde is a very weak 6th wide receiver. And then I struggled with David Njoku. They don't see him as a starter. This gives me the list: Mike Gesicki, Zach Ertz, Hayden Hurst, Austin Knox, Hunter Henry, Sam Laporta, Noah Fant, Logan Thomas, Cade Otton, Tyler Conklin. They all think that they're better than David Njoku.
Does it say that that's who's better, or that's who they recommend you pick up?
Players you have rostered that rank as worse than the possible free agents are listed where they rank among them in red.
They think Sam Laporta is going to be better.
In terms of
David Njoku.
Kenny Pickett, or in terms of quarterbacks, they think Kenny Pickett, Jimmy G, Matt Stafford, Bryce Young, Sam Howell, Mac Jones, C.J. Stroud, Brock Purdy, Ryan Tannehill, Kyler Murray, all better than Jared Goff.
Do I have to put in my email?
I did, but you don't have to.
Yeah, if you do it, then it just takes you to the next page. So if you see another way to get past it, then that just means that you looked harder than I did.
I got a B minus.
Oof. I'm putting Dom.
And
in
it
now,
says,
so we'll see.
and it says shooting for 4-0. Strength by position are running back and wide receiver. It shows that my wide receivers are very strong. It says, in a competitive league, almost every team has a weakness. It's almost impossible to build a team that is strong at all 3 core positions. As you probably suspect, we perceive your weakness to be at the quarterback position. Of all the deficiencies to have, though, that this is usually the weakest one to mask. Football Guys even recommends you go into your draft with the goal of landing the top RBs and wide receivers while waiting to grab QBs late. Value-based drafting principles also suggest that teams constructed in this manner end up being strong. But for this team to reach its full potential, you might need to have a quick trigger finger at the QB position and stay on the lookout for good quarterback help. Last year, Derek Carr could be very cheap in August, but ended up contributing to a lot of fantasy championships. In 2020, it was Herbert, it was Lamar. In 19, it was Lamar. In 17, it was Goff. Quarterbacks like these can be found every year, and that could be the key to your team's success. Your weakness at QB might make it for a challenging year, but we don't think it will doom you. Players we particularly like on this team include Josh Jacobs and DK Metcalf. We have both these guys ranked ahead of where they're typically being drafted. With great in-season management, we think you have about a 65% chance of making the playoffs. With good in-season management, we think you have about 45% What? Oh, okay. With good in-season management, you have 45% chance. With average in-season management, you have 25% chance.
That's the same as Dom's. He has a B- grade. His team is called Drafting the Undrafted because he drafted a bunch of players that were bad. Your starting lineup is respectable, but the lack of depth is a serious problem. If you're lucky enough to avoid the injury bug, you might be okay, but that's a tough thing to have to count on. To make this team into a serious contender, you are going to need to be extremely active in trades and on the waiver wire. You essentially need to turn over significant parts of this roster. Last year, running backs like James Conner could have been had at dirt cheap during this draft. Additionally, wide receivers like Deebo Samuel were available after a lot of the drafts. Quarterbacks like Derek Carr from last year and Justin Herbert in 2020 could be had cheap on the waiver wire just after draft time. You're likely going to need to land many of this year's top waiver wire plays to make any significant noise, so pay close attention to increased workloads, targets, injuries, etc. We particularly like Austin Eckler and Brandon Ayuk. We both have these guys ranked ahead of where they typically be going in drafts, and then 65% with great management, 45 with good, 25 with average. And then that's it. Those are our team grades. Do we want to go through and try to say one more trade that we would do, or are we just going to call it good?
I think we just call it good.
I wouldn't make a trade if I had this team. I might try to target a top tier running back.
I don't
Go along
understand
pretty
why.
small, but-
I don't understand why it said like my quarterbacks were my biggest weakness, because Kyler Murray could be a league winner and Trevor Lawrence is easily a top 10 quarterback.
Kyler Murray's not even going to play in the first 6 weeks, and he's coming off an ACL tear on the worst team in the NFL.
Okay, that's a hot take. They are not the worst team in the NFL.
100% will be the worst team
They
in the
are.
NFL.
They are already the strong favorites to get the number 1 overall pick next year. Like, they're the worst team in the league, for sure. And there's
Jesus,
rumors,
I don't know about
there's
that.
rumors that Kyler Murray might not play the entire season. And they might redshirt him just so that way they can get a better pick and have him be healthy when they're ready to actually like play real football.
I don't think so.
Trevor Lawrence, I do agree that it has the ability to be a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know why they're hating on that
It is
pick.
hot as fuck in this room now.
It is. All right, we are going to call that an episode. Hope you guys all enjoyed this draft. Sorry that it was a lot of dead air space during the middle. If you're listening on any of those podcast platforms, hopefully you didn't get too bored. But luckily, if you want to watch the draft, it's available on YouTube, and you can actually look at the wonderful sleeper draft board instead of having to just listen to us talk. So next week, I think we're going over my guys. So look out for that. And when I say next week, I actually probably mean in like 2 weeks because we haven't been very consistent the last couple of episodes. But we're hoping by next week we'll be ready to record one, and that'll be my guys. Then we have, I think, hot takes and hot cakes after that. So that might hopefully be the first episode we record, but that one might have to be delayed because I don't know how realistic that is anymore.
Yeah, we'll see.
So we'll see. Regardless, next week's my guys. Thanks for listening. Buncha Bums signing off.